going to show you today are in two basic parts. The first part, what I'm going to do is run reasonably fast through a lot of the features. Your job is to look at your own profile and just take paper notes of the things that you think you need to change or check afterwards. So it's not going to be detailed about how to make the changes. What I'm going to do is showcase some good practice and to ensure that you have a good profile.
So that's the purpose?
That is the purpose, is for you to take away notes of actions for your own profile.
Okay.
The second part will then go through some of the finer detail of how to use it and how to make LinkedIn fit with your preferred way of working. And again, this is guidance because my preferences will not be the same as yours. And so it's an opportunity to look at what the options are, and then equally you can add to your list of things to do, but then you must decide for yourself what works. So, everyone ready?
I've just got one question, just around the context. So we're wanting our LinkedIn profile to be
as complete as possible, and a good reflection of you professionally, such that if anyone looks you up, you feel they get an accurate idea of your skills, your background, your competences.
Okay, so it's not necessarily to sell you.
Well, it's for whatever you want to use it for.
Okay,
Some people will want to use it for selling, some won't. But the reason for doing it is that if you have a poor or an incomplete LinkedIn profile, people nowadays make judgments about you. You may be really comfortable with those judgments, or you may not, and that again is your decision. So I was looking for someone the other day, and they had 37 connections on LinkedIn, and I thought, are you a modern business professional when you have so few people who you have connected with? And they were, but I found it hard to find information about them. So that was my choice and my judgment.
Alright.
Don't worry, just slide out when you need to go. So let's kick off. Easy peasy stuff to begin with. You are all signed up, I know, and you all have a LinkedIn profile. Following the sign up takes you through the basic steps of putting up your own biography online, and I will share these slides with you all afterwards, and they'll be on my SlideShare. Now, LinkedIn is designed to showcase you in the context of your professional career. It uses words which are things like your profile, which is where you create the description and information about yourself. And let's just run through the principal things. Photograph, really important, bearing in mind that once it's been reduced to something below a postage stamp size on a mobile phone device, your photo needs to be extremely good. We do recommend a professional photographer, and it is just your head. A picture of your entire body, once reduced, makes it very hard to identify your features, and as human beings we like to be able to see what people look like. I had a lovely photograph of myself on the top of a windy hill near Invercargill, with my hair all blowing out sideways, and people said, "You don't look anything like your LinkedIn profile." Well, of course I didn't, I was on holiday, you know. So a professional headshot worth spending the money on. When you upload it, crop it so most of the space is your face. It's okay to cut off kind of like the top of your head, but the features we use to identify what's our hair typically like, what are our eyes, nose and mouth like. So, you know, if it doesn't work for you, top bit of shoulders, but you really don't need to go as low as your waist. So really simple. So just look at your own photo and go, does that fulfill that criteria? Look at other people's that you know. When you write in your name, you put in first name and second name. Some people also choose to put a description of their particular skills. That is cheating, but LinkedIn allows it. So I could be Rebecca Sales Wizard Caro if I wanted to be. And that is an option, but the main place where you describe yourself is two places. The short summary about who you are, and this is the bit that appears below your name on your profile page. I have spent a lot of time crafting mine, and I have taken liberties by reading others in detail and looking at their structure and format. So when you go to look at my profile, I'd like you to look at each paragraph and decide what each paragraph is about. So I'm just going to flip over to my profile, and this is me. Okay, I'm actually going to change it so we're actually going as if that's me logged in as myself, but this is my public profile. I hate you. It forces me to pretend I'm not me. So, here's the summary background. So I've put in my name, I've put in a one-liner that says what I do, and it then identifies your city and country and a group of industry that you work in. There are 6 paragraphs here. The first one is an opening statement that says what my specialist competencies are. The second is one line that says, hire Rebecca if you need to make sales in B2B markets. And I deliberately put that as a separate paragraph. So someone who is browsing my profile quite quickly gets to a pretty punchy sales message. So if someone resonates and thinks, that works for me, I hope they'll get in touch. Then I have a paragraph that talks about the broader context of things that I'm interested in professionally. I deliberately don't want to go into the deep detail at this stage of how I acquired my knowledge. And so I talk here about wanting to advance women in technology, focusing on girl geeks, recognising where I went to university and some of my other broader business interests. Because I want to show I'm a well-rounded person. Now that's my choice to put this paragraph as the third one in my profile. I then have a statement of success with my clients. I have built niche online communities for brands. I then have a statement that talks about the things that I've done that are peculiar or particular to me. I have chosen to identify these because I think they illustrate that I'm good at being at the leading edge, and this just shows that it's not something I'm doing now, it's something that I can claim going back through my career. I talk a little bit about continuous learning because for me that's particularly important. And I then end with 4 one-liners that are key words, search phrases that people might use to try and find someone like me.
That's good.
So if you think about what each paragraph represents, that's one way of structuring your profile. And also demonstrating the rounder person than just, you professionally.
Can I ask you how long you've had that format up?
Probably about 9 months. I edit it quite frequently. Browsing along, and there's a lady who I know called Lydia A. Khan, K-A-N, if you want to look her up. She's in a very different industry from me. I met her, I looked her up, and I thought, that's a really well-written profile. She's now a good friend of mine, and she won't mind you copying hers, but I based mine off hers. So that was where I got to. But then, of course, you're always comparing. So.
And since you changed the format, have you noticed an increase in invitations or inquiry or?
Since I changed it, I have actually won one client directly off LinkedIn from someone I don't know. We have no people we know in common, an American who was looking for very specific B2B copywriting selling technical services. So yes,
Wow.
that came out of the blue. It is an outlier.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I've noticed a particular increase because I think that's just one element of what leads to those outcomes. But I do get quite a lot of invitations to connect. I had a very funny situation where someone who works in this building came up to me at lunchtime and went, "You don't want to be my friend on LinkedIn." Because I had written and said, "Do I know who you are?" Because his photograph was him standing at the bottom of a mountain with a backpack on, and he didn't look anything like the guy who I see every other day in the office. So we laughed about it, but I did feel mortified. I hadn't recognised him. To be fair, the business he said he consults to a firm here, so I didn't recognise the business name or anything. If it had said the name of the firm that he's consulting to, I'd have immediately thought, oh yeah, I know everyone who works there.
Do you think it's worth getting the premium profile?
I chose to do it for a particular reason when I was looking to get a job, because you then, when you submit your CV, your profile, your CV shows at the top of the pile. I'm no longer looking to get a job,
Right.
but I kept the premium membership because it does have some nice additional benefits. One of which is that it allows you to see a longer history of who has looked at your profile.
Okay.
There are lots of different categories of premium that LinkedIn allows, and some have different benefits. So it's worth just investigating them, and they do change them from time to time. So I don't find it expensive. I wouldn't say I get massive value for money from it, but I have not seen any reason to stop my subscription, which for me is a good enough reason to continue.
Okay. Great. Okay.
I think
Okay.
it shows that you are serious, you're professional.
There's an element of that, but again, it shows you're serious to other people who also have those values, and bear in mind that your target audience of clients and customers may not have those same values, so I try not to be too judgmental, but yes. Now, custom URL, did you know you can make your own URL inside LinkedIn? So mine is nz.linkedin.com/Rebecca Carroll. Gosh, it's great having a name that no one else has. I am the only one in the world. If you have it's on a first come first served basis, go and look and see if you can have your own custom URL. That hyperlink will tell you how to set it up. It's not difficult. That's also, I think, the reason why some people choose to, it's a horrible word, uniqueify their name, make their name unique by putting additional things in, like an initial for a middle name, or sales success, or something like that. Worth having, because otherwise it's less searchable. It's also less memorable because actually the LinkedIn identifier is a long string of numbers after linkedin.com, unless you choose to put your own name in there. So it's easier to search for someone's name than it is to search for a string of numbers. Look at your background. Have a look at what you've got up there. Are all your previous jobs in there? Do the dates broadly coincide? It doesn't really matter in great detail. Nowadays, LinkedIn's worked very hard to try and get as many businesses as possible on LinkedIn, because as you know, you've got personal profiles on LinkedIn and business profiles. So go and see if the business that you worked for, or in my case, if it's been merged, sold and renamed, what its subsequent iteration is called, and see if you can actually hyperlink to it, because then people can read it on your profile and click through and see what the business does. But one of the challenges I had in arriving in New Zealand was I had a CV full of businesses that no one here had heard of. So they then had the chance to go and look at them and go, oh, that's a such and such business. Or,
How do you hyperlink?
what you do is when you are in the profile here, when you're setting up the name of the business you worked for, LinkedIn makes suggestions about the name of the business. So what you might want to do is open another browser and search for that business so that you use the right form of word, particularly if it's got an and in it, if it's a list of names or something, have they got commas between them? Just make sure that you use the exact way that they represent themselves. So this business has chosen to call themselves Lifetime Space Health Space Diary.com without a space. It makes it easier to find, but LinkedIn prompts you through it.
Okay.
And then the logo just comes up.
And then the logo just comes off, thank you, and a little profile about the business.
So on this one, Lee, can you just quickly, it brings up all the people in LinkedIn.
Yep.
So all my colleagues.
So you want,
things.
that's correct, but you then want to go and look for the company, so Stevenson Thorner.
Yeah.
So up there where it says search, on the left hand side you've got search people. Now click, click there, and it says search companies. Okay.
Right.
So what we were just looking at there was in LinkedIn at the top here, this little menu allows you to vary where you search. So it defaults to searching for people, which is what's here, but you want to select search for companies if you're looking for a company. If you do nothing and just click in there, it tends to think you're looking for a person.
So then how do you hyperlink it?
When you are editing your profile, so if I go into edit my profile, then what you're looking for
Edit profile.
is add another job, or edit your job. So scroll down, here I am, if I want to edit the company name.
Oh, I see, we can edit there.
Yes. So change the company, edit the display name. Alright?
And you put in their website.
No, you put in their LinkedIn. So open another browser over here. Just use another one. And go to linkedin.com and then search for the company.
Oh, I understand.
Okay.
Now I get it. Sorry, a bit slow this
So no, you can put in their actual company website. So,
If I check this,
same deal with education. If you've had formal education, worth saying it, because LinkedIn then loves allowing you to connect with people that they say are former classmates. What a load of golf that is. Because everyone knows that you go through a university in a 3, 4 or 5 year period, and you might have been at the same university at a completely different time. We didn't know each other at all, but anyway, it has handy associations. Same deal, make sure you link to the listing of that educational establishment. Bear in mind that Americans call universities schools, and we call schools, they call high schools, but you can list them all. If you've got any professional formal qualifications, stick them in as well. Any other certificates? A lot of us have got other forms of certification which are relevant to our job or past jobs, worth putting them in there. So I was an investor in people assessor, which is a human resources management certification used in the UK. Not relevant now to my job, but at the time it would have been very useful to put it in so that people knew that I was qualified. Now LinkedIn also works to try and validate what you claim about yourself. And they do this by asking people who know you to say whether they think you have a particular skill. So these are skills and endorsements, and on your profile they show as a list underneath your name of things that you've done. Here. Top skills. And they list them, and next to them are tiny thumbnails of the people who have claimed that they think that I have those skills. Now, it only displays 10. The first time that someone endorses you for a particular skill, if it's a skill that you haven't said you're comfortable with, LinkedIn says, it sends you an email. It says, are you happy to have this skill added to your profile? Now, there are jokers out there who will say that I'm a great ballet dancer. I'm very clearly not. So just check them, don't automatically say yes. But what tends to happen is once you have said, I am comfortable being identified with the skill of strategy, it will then suggest that to people as they browse their own LinkedIn. And so that tends to reinforce the profile that you have as a strategist. Okay? So some people place great value on these, some place much less value on them. Because LinkedIn's introduced it, you kind of now need to have those on your profile. A little bit hard to force. I did have a funny moment where someone had suggested pole dancing to me. Very easy to gain
Yeah.
endorsements, as I said.
Right.
I don't place a huge amount of value. On the bit of your profile that says basic information, this is your opportunity to put in the more rounded detail about yourself. And nowadays, I think many people like to show that there's more to them than just work. And so, your personal details. Advice for contacting. Who here is comfortable publishing their email, the actual email address on LinkedIn? Okay. And some aren't. That is fine. This is where you can say also why you want to be contacted. And there are various choices like stay in touch, a job opportunity, professional advice request, get back in touch. So you can limit the sorts of inquiries that come to you based on those categories and filter the sort of inbound emails that you get.
Do they have a filter of them not do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you go and look, advice for contacting Rebecca, and I put that in there because I get a lot of connection requests from people who I don't know, and I have chosen that I only want to get in touch, be contacted by either people who know me and have met me, which I'm very happy to connect with you, or people who want to do business with me, and I'm very explicit about that.
You said and.
I said where?
And.
Where? And?
And people.
Oh, and people, thank you. Maybe I should change that. Quick.
Because the way that I've read that is if I don't know you, you don't want to do business with me.
There we go, thank you. Lovely, good edit. A lot of people don't read this, but
Yeah.
I then also use that when I receive unsolicited requests from people like the poor gentleman who works here, who said I've rejected him. I send an email that says, basically, have we met, do I know you, have I forgotten, for which apologies because I do forget, or would you like to do business with me? And I use that as a filter device. Because if you cannot be bothered to reply to the email that I've sent you, my guess is you're actually not that keen in getting to know me. And so I'm not going to invest energy in our relationship. And that's my choice. Some people accept every request they get, and other people have different standards. So take what works for you. Projects. This is quite a nice new-ish feature where you can actually put in particular projects that you've worked on if you have things that you want to showcase. Maybe you introduced a new service to your business. Maybe you worked on an actual physical project or in the engineering thing. So I could claim here that I worked on the market research for Canary Wharf, which was London's Dockland office centre that was built actually my very, very first job. Yes, of course, I was a minion in a team of a very, very large number of people, but that's kind of nice to be able to claim an association with it. It also gives people a reason to ask about you. So, oh, you worked on the so-and-so project, or you were involved in this. So something that might have been deeply interesting, but can showcase another part of your skill set. Like launching a new service. I was part of the team that brought the business into another country or onto a new city. Completely different skill set, but worth mentioning. And then on the right-hand side, LinkedIn puts in things that are recommended for you. This is it trying hard with its sophisticated algorithm to suggest ways that you can use it better and it can be useful for you. And you can choose whether these things have any validity for your personal profile. I have no honours and awards, but for some people, two guys in this office won an International Design Award for people who are mobile workers, and they've designed a really clever sort of carry case to put all your gear in. They won that last week. It's being sponsored by a global furniture manufacturer called Herman Miller. Wonderful for them. Their product designers, it's perfect to say honours and awards. Ditto test scores, so if you're a student, maybe you want to publish how well you did in your matric or whatever. What courses you've been on, what patents you have, and anything else. I have none of these, so they don't appear on mine. And then have a look at it. Click you're done editing, and then look on the right hand side, there's a little circle, a blue circle, which then gets filled up with blue water, depending on how complete your profile is. So when you're done editing, You click the done editing button, and here on the right is this thing. It says profile strength. You want it to be an all-star. Basically, they always leave a little gap at the top. You're never done. But you do want to have as complete a profile as possible.
Wow, you're a
Where
star.
do we see it?
I've been waiting for you to say that to me. It's on the right, when you say done editing, it's on the top on the right hand side.
Oh, cool.
So now I hope you've got a list on your pads of things to check for your own profile, things to review.
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll now move on to the sort of second bit where I'm going to talk a little bit about how to make LinkedIn suit the way you want to work and do the things that will help you in your business. And I have fully expect that these will be very variable just based on this group here. Your privacy. It's really important and it is personal, and what you choose changes. I have changed the depth of my own privacy settings in LinkedIn over the years. How do you want to be seen by others when they're viewing you, and how do you want to see others? It is individual. You don't have to reveal a lot, but you can reveal quite a lot if you want to. So where you get there is, sorry.
So by the drop down by the edit profile button, just go to the down in your under
Oh, my right.
It's
Yeah,
no, go up the top
up.
with your picture
There.
on the right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Keep going
There.
right there, and then it's under
Back
privacy and
settings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, just showing what I have chosen. On everybody's profile, there is this very thin bar underneath their name. And a lot of people overlook it because it's very lightly grey. And they have this thing that says contact information. And you can choose here, I have chosen to put my email address in public and my phone number. I've also put my Twitter ID and the websites of businesses that I work for. So when I'm looking at random people, do I know Rod Drury, CEO of Xero? No, I do not. He's a famous figure, but let's have a look. There's his LinkedIn, his contact information. So he chooses to allow you to see what his Twitter profile is. And quite interestingly, if people are active on Twitter, and I know he is, you can actually quite often get to people and get messages to them, not through email. So I've quite often been successful if I want to connect with someone, to tweet to them, hi so-and-so, whatever my reason for getting in touch is, well, I'm keen to connect with you on LinkedIn, I've sent you a request, and you do it through Twitter. Because some people choose not to receive emails from LinkedIn, and as a consequence, they may not see your connection request unless they happen to go into LinkedIn and look at the connection. In the privacy settings, there is so much that you can personalize. It's laid out as 4 principal tabs, and each one of these tabs has a large number of options. So profile, communications, groups and account. So each one of these opens out, and again, because the white and the grey backgrounds are actually not very different, it is important just to go carefully through them. It's pretty straightforward and says what it does on the tin. Turn on and off your activity broadcasts. Do you want people to know what you've said you're doing? Select who can see your activity feed. You might say you only want, let's have a look at it, people in my network.
What's the difference between your network and your connections?
Network is your first and secondary connection. So if I'm not directly connected to you, but you and I both know Rosina, then you would be in my network. But bear in mind that your network also includes other members of groups that you're in. So I may not actually know you, but we're all in the Kia New Zealand group, then it allows them. So I'll change this to being everyone can see. And if you're keen to get better known,
Yeah.
be more public. If you're keen to restrict things and just be a little more cautious, change it.
Right.
Select what others see when you've viewed their profile. You can change this, but you can say it's an anonymous profile or you're completely anonymous. My preference is that people can see that it was me, but equally sometimes it comes up and says someone in the medical industry from this city has looked at your profile, and it just means okay, whatever, because I can't do anything about it.
So if you're not on premium, you might not have that.
No, that's public for everyone. It's nothing to do with premium.
Okay.
This is your basic settings.
Okay.
The only thing in your profile views that premium allows is that in the basic account you can only see the most recent 3 days, and if you pay them money you can see a longer history. Oh, look at that! Who's been looking at me?
Jason.
5 minutes. I've been snapped out.
So these are adverts. Increase your profile views by following this company, LinkedIn. Oh, really? This man is paying to be promoted. I don't know who he is. But these are all suggestions. You see there's a blue line here that's separating them. Follow, edit, connect, follow. And it then goes back down to people who've viewed my profile.
There's another side of Snowflake.
Oh,
Read
brilliant.
that.
Yeah, we recognise that guy.
Watch out for that. Do you see here? It has this overlapping circle and a 2. So these are the 2 people who both know Taylor McGregor. But I don't know Taylor McGregor. But if I wanted to find out who he was, these are 2 people who are both known to me. My guess is he might be connected to David McGregor. So
Right, yeah,
I can go down, and it goes on for rather longer if you pay money. So I have a once a week task that I have in my diary that says go and check his view my profile, because sometimes there's some really interesting people out there, and if I think they're interesting or if there's some reason to get in touch, I will get in touch with them and ask to connect.
So is LinkedIn like someone's knocking on your door and you need to answer it immediately, or is it that they're knocking on the door and when you get to them you'll respond?
It's your choice. Different people have different priorities. My choice is it's a thing that I will respond to, but I'm unlikely to focus on it more than once a week.
Okay.
And in a busy week, no, I may not focus on it at all.
Alright, so don't feel guilty.
The problem I feel is that because I've set
Don't
this,
feel guilty, full stop.
don't feel guilty. I've set this thing that I want to know why you want to connect with me, and because LinkedIn has this default that just sends a standard email that says, "Hi, I would like to add you to my professional network on LinkedIn," with no reason or explanation. If I do know you, I'll say yes immediately because I recognise you. But if I don't, my response to that statement is why? Why do you want to add me to our professional network? And so one of the things that you will notice if you use the LinkedIn apps that are available for smartphones is they have cut down some of the features and functionalities. And one of the things that I try not to do is to connect with people using the app, because it only sends the default message and doesn't allow you to edit it. If you go onto the browser, it then opens up a window and you can then edit the message and say, make it clear that you're not just an automaton, that there's a reason why you're interested in connecting. Going back into some of the other settings.
Wait a minute, do you have an auto response set up on your email that when you get a LinkedIn request it automatically sends that message so you know they're in?
No, I do it manually.
You do it manually?
I go and actually look at these people because I choose that a bit of human filtering. My priorities change, and I'm perhaps not consistent, but no, I felt it. I will say though that if you have a standard response question that you want to use to people who have sent you a connection request, it's much easier to do it in the app. I only know the iPhone app, but if someone requests to connect with you and you go into the browser to do it, just go and do it and I'll show you. It has here are my invitations. See all. $291 people think they want to connect with me.
Oh, I find that overwhelming.
Okay, it is. So I actually know Dieter, so I'll just do that, and then it replaces him with someone else. But if you just go into your messages and expand the messages, inside the messages side, there are two categories, messages and invitations. Invitations, this is the old format of LinkedIn, and then they created the one we've just looked at differently. Oh, who is this Jason Lilliefeld? Okay.
Alright, suspicious.
I do know you, and I'm happy just to connect with you. But here is an option on the
Right.
button.
Right.
It says reply, don't accept yet.
Okay.
And you can then put a message in that says whatever you want and send it off. If you do that, LinkedIn then takes you out of the messages inbox and into a new screen that says, now let's go and upload all of your contacts and see who else you know, which really annoys me because actually, usually if I'm in the mode of accepting or starting a dialogue with people who want to connect with me, my brain is saying, I'll do a dozen of these now. It'll be, a 15-minute job. And it really bugs me that it doesn't let you do that. So what I tend to do then is open a new browser window. And so and I'll open that in a new tab. And then I'll go down and I'll open this one in a new tab. So I have a load of different tabs. So let's say I want to say, hi Olivia, do we know each other, or let's meet next week. If I then send that message, it then allows me to go back to the previous tab where all the other messages are. On the app, I use a text editing thing and I write out my little message. It allows you to actually send that message and copy and paste it really quickly, and it keeps you in the same browser window. Just a personal.
How many invites do you get? What is it?
I'll get a dozen a week.
So that one's going to sit me for a while.
And every now and then I'll go and clean them out. And what it does is, I'm not very disciplined. If I send you the message and you don't reply to say you'd like to do business with me or we have met, I'll probably then just drop it. So it's up to you to respond to me. And if it looks like you sent the connection request a year ago and nothing's happened, I'll just click that ignore button. LinkedIn then says to you, is this spam or do you just not know this person? And, quite often I just don't know them. And they are using it to try and detect people who are abusing their system. So at the moment I'm getting a large number of connection requests from people who do appointment setting.
Yeah, me too.
And I think it's very cheeky because they pay LinkedIn. LinkedIn allows them to send me an email offering their services, which comes in through LinkedIn, and I choose to receive that in my inbox as well. And you don't want to reply to it, but LinkedIn offers you the choice to say, yes, no, not now, but later maybe, or a custom message. And I'm tied because I kind of want to tell them I'm not interested. Say I want to say I'm not interested. If I reply to them, does that then kind of confirm my identity to them? And the people who send them then also send me personal connection requests. And I feel that's inappropriate. It's not my choice, but clearly people do respond to it or they wouldn't be doing it. Just to flick through a couple of other things. Communication settings. Set the frequency of emails. Okay? Here, select the types of messages you're willing to receive from other members of LinkedIn and select who can send you invitations. It's all very obvious when you get into it. You just open them up and they're radio buttons. So I let anyone connect to me, but you can say only people who know your email address or only people who appear in your own contacts list that you've brought in from maybe your address book. So I recommend you browse each of these sections. The groups thing here, how to view your groups, receiving group digest emails. I actually turn these off for all except for the ones that are most important to me, but a lot of people love to build their profile while participating in groups or being an owner of a group. Okay. And here's another one, privacy controls in groups. Turn on and off data sharing with third-party applications. Again, you can choose what you want.
Where's the one that you, that I really suggest you do when you're making changes to your profile, that you turn it off because it's really, really annoying.
That it says so-and-so has updated their profile.
Yeah, so when you're doing a lot of work on it, on
Yeah.
your profile, I don't really want to know that. I don't want to know that you've learned how to hyperlink. Okay, but that will,
Exactly.
so you need to turn that button off so that it doesn't show that, because otherwise it will show it as an update.
Oh yeah. Where do we? Yeah. Where do we go
I
there?
select for under profile.
It's under
It
profile.
says turn on off your activity broadcast. That's the number
Okay.
one.
So when you're doing this, when I say to people, just turn it off, because you'll get every single thing you do will be sent to your database.
Oh yeah, it says here, note, you may want to turn this option off if you're looking for a job, don't want your present employer to see that you're updating your profile. Boom!
Pretty straightforward. So the language is very clear,
Thanks,
and
very quick.
it does pay, as you say, to read the detail.
Very good, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Okay.
Setting email frequencies. This is really important. I have made a choice for myself that I do want to receive an email when someone wants to connect with me, because I do believe that building my network is useful. One of the things I do, if you connect with me, I will download from LinkedIn all of my connections, contact details, and I may send you emails. Some people don't like that, but that is my choice. So for me, making the connections to relevant people is important for my business. And sometimes I will message you outside of LinkedIn, because once you've connected with someone, you can see the contact details that they have uploaded, and their first degree connections can always see each other's contact details. The types of emails you want to receive, again, do you want group update digests? Do you want to receive a daily Pulse summary? Pulse is the sort of news feed inside LinkedIn, and there are often really useful articles and interesting things in there. If you don't want it, turn it off. So there are quite a lot of very easy to understand settings. I think you need to decide for yourself which are the most important for you. And secondly, if you want to do it, I do recommend email filtering inside your email program. So I have,
No, finish
Oh, I have a little bit of code that I've written that says when you receive an email from LinkedIn, take it out of my inbox and put it in a folder called LinkedIn, so that it's not distracting me from my day-to-day work. And when I am doing my 15 minutes a week on LinkedIn, I can then go into that folder and quickly scan through and delete or deal with the LinkedIn stuff. So that was my choice.
So how do you actually do that?
It's in your mail program, so do you use Outlook?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you afterwards how to do it. But
Is that
it's,
your question?
No, but you jumped in me.
Yeah, cute.
come on, children, play nicely.
You jump out, right?
What was your question?
So my question was, how you can set up the profile of, hey, these are the people I want to deal with, as an email list. Can you also add to that, I'm assuming that if you want to connect, that you're headed on to our newsletter database?
Yeah, well, because you can edit, like I put in the thing that said this is the sort of connections that I want.
Yeah.
You can either do it in that standard statement, but bear in mind that a lot of people will overlook reading it. So if it really matters to you that people have knowingly accepted the connection request, you might want to do it in a reply, but don't when I was showing you how to reply but don't accept their invitation that in your standard text. I mean, I just have a little document file that I copy and paste that's either the same text. Oh, dear, fill in blank.
Because they're supposed to give written permission to go onto a music.
Yeah.
So is there a different way that you can get them to opt in to a newsletter list?
No. Because your newsletter list is outside of LinkedIn. LinkedIn has in its terms and conditions the presumption that if you and I are first degree connections, we want to be able to communicate with each other. If I abuse that trust and send you stuff that you're too frequently that you're not interested in, my guess is that you will unconnect. In fact, while talking about unconnecting, it doesn't tell the person you've unconnected from that you've unconnected from.
Yeah, that was one of my questions.
Right.
So no joking about stalking, but in all seriousness, it's discreet. But I will say that LinkedIn is not infallible. There are very definitely, to my certain knowledge, people that I have previously been connected with that then appear on the here are some people you might know list. You know, like, I know I was previously connected with them. There are two explanations. One is they disconnected from me and now want to reconnect, or I want to reconnect to them. It's like, well, I've forgotten that it's the third option, I've forgotten I disconnected from them. Or there's been some hiccup somewhere in LinkedIn.
Connecting. Interesting.
So, you can, in the account section of the settings, you can change your email settings, you can change your passwords, your security, your language, the privacy of your photos, etc. We think we've covered most of those. I like in your account this point that says add all emails so you can be found easily. How many people here have more than one email address that they use? See, I often have clients who give me email addresses at their domain, and so it's quite useful to register all of the different email addresses which are associated with you. You know it's you, but this is me when I'm working, or I have a private personal email address and then I have a business email address, and some people have even more than that. By the way, LinkedIn makes you sign in again to change privacy settings just in case there's a so under account here, you add and change email addresses. So here I have chosen to register several email addresses that are associated with me. One of them is my primary address, and that's the one that LinkedIn uses to send my communications. It is also the one it publishes on my profile. Okay? But then it just sort of makes it handy, because if you choose to allow LinkedIn to upload email addresses from your own contacts database, maybe from your Outlook contacts, from your Gmail contacts, that then allows you to say, and here are all the contacts that I've got that are associated with me when I'm working for this particular company, and here are contacts that are associated with me when I'm in my personal capacity. And if you want, you can then allow it to upload all of them. So that's quite a handy feature.
Can I just go back to how do you delete someone?
You go in and look at their profile.
Oh, you're going to look at their profile?
Yep.
Okay.
And so it needs to be somebody who's a first degree connection to you. And on the right hand side, it's got a thing that says. So that
Remove connection.
Remove
So
connection.
when it says, where it says endorse.
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Is it further down, is it?
No, it's here.
Oh,
It's at the bottom of that list.
Okay.
It's not really intuitive in that regard, is it? So I don't want to endorse them.
LinkedIn does occasionally.
Exactly. Stop hitting on me.
I've shown you the different email connection settings. The one that looks like it's part of an email inbox, and the other one which is just lots of pictures of people with buttons that say connect. It does introduce new features. It does occasionally sunset and archive features and remove features. This happens quite often, and if you're keen to quietly stay up to date with it, there's a very good podcast by a man called Chuck Hester, which is called Linked Conversations. He's not endorsed by LinkedIn in any way, he's an independent, but he's a handyman who keeps track of what's happening in LinkedIn, and so I enjoy listening to his podcast. Having said all of that, you can nearly always Google it. If you just go, how do I remove a LinkedIn connection? Either LinkedIn Help, which is excellent, will have the answer, or someone else will have written there somewhere. So let's look at some of the connections. I do recommend that you import your contacts, and that it's worth doing semi-regularly, because you do tend to add people to your own contacts list just in your daily life. So I add people through my business email just because I've been emailing a new client, new email address, I add them to my contacts, and then I'll try and add them to LinkedIn. I use the mobile app to see contacts who've been on my phone. I've got on my phone who might not be in LinkedIn. And LinkedIn uses this to try and recruit more people to using LinkedIn. So you need to understand that before you choose to do that. What it does is, in the list of people you may know, which we looked at earlier, some of them are just email addresses that you have imported. And LinkedIn has failed to match that email address against the registered LinkedIn user. It's another reason to have all of your different email addresses registered. And LinkedIn will have sent an email address to that person and go, hey, Rebecca wants to connect with you, which will then take them to the login screen and go, you're not a member, why don't you join? Under your home bar on the right hand sidebar, people you may know, you just click it and you can browse it. I actually find this highly entertaining. It's a sort of, when I'm eating my sandwich at lunchtime, or I'm having a little quiet moment, I want a bit of brain relaxation from whatever I'm working on, I kind of like seeing who LinkedIn thinks I might be interested in.
Need to do that more though.
And then once you've got a base level of contacts, the smartphone app is pretty good. LinkedIn had the most marvellous business card scanner app. So you could take your phone, put a business card down, take a photo of it, and it was very good at taking the image, translating it into text, putting it into the correct fields, and then importing it. It was called Card Munch. Sadly, don't write that down, it no longer exists, because LinkedIn did a deal with a big organisation called Evernote, and Evernote wants to be the replacement. If you're an Evernote user, you can use Evernote to scan, photograph business cards and import them into your LinkedIn. However, there are alternatives that will create mailing lists, business card scanners, and once you've got a CSV file or PST file of those lists, you can then import them in exactly the same way as LinkedIn will let you import your own contacts. The link I've put here is a blog post of, I think, 10 different card scanner apps. So go look for reviews of them. I must say Card Munch was marvellous. One of my former clients got his daughter when she was in her school holidays to scan a pile of business cards that was this high. She did them after school each day for an hour. It's great.
I need to have children.
Evidently. I can lend you some. Lots of them. Home, your newsfeed. If you want to use LinkedIn as a newspaper or a guide to useful educational material for your profession or your areas of interest, it's great. It will send you just brilliant stuff. Bear in mind that LinkedIn has professional writers and educators on its books whose stuff will be pushed out to a large number of people, even though you may not have expressed interest in them. But it will also show you things that people in your network have uploaded. And it's definitely worth checking out. Your newsfeed. When you are logged in and you click on the home button, the first thing that comes up is this thing, Pulse, and this is it. It's that little logo. These are recommendations. That's a newspaper article. None of these people are known to me, but down here are updates from people who are in my network, even showing me updates that I've written. This one here has a grey bit next to it. Sponsored content, so businesses that are paying LinkedIn to put their updates into people's news feeds. Not the same as LinkedIn's professional writers that we showed you at the top of the page here. Okay.
How do you know that again, sorry?
Yeah, it says
That's
I
awesome.
expensive. Oh look,
You're scaling.
has an updated
Profile.
Oh no, I know. You should have
25
told us
minutes
that
ago.
right at the beginning.
Ah,
Because I clicked it off now.
So
I didn't know.
it's in here. You can like it and
At least that's
comment
the
it.
only thing that's showing because I've been playing while you.
Exactly. And this sort of likes and comments and stuff is, it's kind of interesting. I like that sort of stuff. From time to time when I'm feeling social, when I'm feeling, oh, what's out there today, what do I not know? And there are other times where I don't know.
So is that where people put in their articles?
Yep, absolutely. So if you do a status update, it goes up to your network.
But you have to have it turned on.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you
right.
got it. Yeah.
If it's going out, well, it'll go out to your first degree connections, or it can go out to your broader network. Do you remember we looked at, or it can go to private messaging. Kind of handy. You can have the private messages just stay in the messaging function inside LinkedIn, or in your message settings, you can have them sent to your own email address. I do choose to do that because I don't actually go to LinkedIn as an email. I don't see it as an email function. And so quite often someone will message me and I see it in my inbox and I'll go back to LinkedIn and write them a quick reply. If it looks like it's becoming a conversation, I will usually say to them, can we take this off LinkedIn? Because I know I don't go on LinkedIn often enough, and if it's an urgent message, I won't see it. So my choice is then to say to them, we'll probably be connected, I'll probably know their email address. I'm going to move this, could you reply to me at this email address? But that's my choice. It depends on your frequency of checking your LinkedIn inbox.
So are we still back in privacy and settings?
No, the top row, at the top where it says messages, so that's your inbox there. You've got 84 people waiting to do stuff with you.
96.
Sorry, there you go. Going up by a second.
Alright, so go back to what you wrote before. So I don't understand where the...
This is your
Yeah,
inbox.
that's my
There you
inbox.
go. Write a message.
No, I don't want to write a message.
What do you want to do?
I
Read
want
your
to do
inbox.
what you've done, which sends the messages from there to my...
That's in your settings. So here you go. In your privacy settings. There's a tab called communications here.
Oh, so it's in that box. So it's still in that box. Okay.
You're
Sorry.
right. You are.
You've moved on.
We spoke earlier about LinkedIn having company profiles and personal profiles. What I've spoke about mostly is your personal profile today. Do go and look up your own business. LinkedIn spent a lot of time and effort importing business databases in order to list a very, very large number of businesses. Most businesses are listed there. Some have not been claimed. Claimed means that you acknowledge that it's your business and you then take ownership for updating the information that's on it. So do search for your own firm, go and see what is
How will it be
written.
here? If it's just us individually, that's...
You'll go. I'm trying to think. Let's go for. So I've just done this search, and it's suggested. This is my landlord here, and these will be. It won't have the actual logo. It just has a grade default logo, and it includes whatever statement LinkedIn imported from the database that it found, and that might be a yellow page, might have been a sort of, probably not yellow pages, but it might have been a sort of business registration database or so on. There are reasonably few of them around anymore because we should go and have a look, got an idea of one. I know that's been claimed, sorry. I was thinking of a small firm that might not have claimed their profile. But once you've got your logo in there, and then you can edit it in exactly the same way as you've edited your personal profile. LinkedIn likes to suggest that you follow companies if there are ones of particular interest to you. When the company updates information about itself, puts up news and so on, you get that in your news feed just the same way as it presumes you want to follow the people who are in your network. Joining groups. I do join and leave groups fairly regularly. There are some limits that LinkedIn has, which I bumped into a while ago, where if you request to join a large number of groups and the group administrator does not accept your request, it only allows you a certain number of open requests. Unfortunately, I've never worked out how to go and find those and go, okay, well, I don't want to join them anymore, they don't want me to be their friend.
Gotcha. Okay, that's useful.
Active groups are super because they allow an area of common interest and people to have discussion and dialogue. I have a few that relate to some of my hobbies and I have some which are business related. Inside your group settings, you can set whether or not you want to receive emails from the group. They call that a digest, and you can either get them as it happens. So as someone posts a new discussion topic or a link to an interesting article into the group, it will then email you automatically, or you can say, please aggregate them and send them to me once a day, or please aggregate them and send them to me once a week. And again, your choice. Is the group of sufficient interest? Is it going to lead you to achieve one of your business goals? I think you can decide for yourselves what works best. Or you can just leave the group and just go and look at it online. I'm coming back to who's viewed your profile. I do like this. They've also put this sort of gamification feature in called How You Rank. And I'm not massively in favour of it, but it is entertaining. Yeah, so look, here we go. That's one of those things, Rosina, that you get in mail that someone's paid for. A new business deal for you. Well, actually, no, it's not. It's them trying to sell me appointment setting services. Who's viewed your profiles? This is the right-hand sidebar of my home button. 12 people in the last 3 days. My rank improved by 3%. I don't set enormous store by this, but it's highly entertaining. I rank in the top 3% for profile views among my connections. Ballyhoo, I'm delighted. I'm number 77 out of this total connections of 2,900. So
that's only within your connections.
Correct.
Views like that, yeah.
And then, do you see the two tabs here? My connections, professionals like you. So then it's trying to say, these are the people that we think are similar to you, and it's trying to sell you ways to get more views, join groups. And, these are the people who are most viewed, and here's the rank. No idea why Bruce Kasanoff is so famous, but he is. He's an author. Ben Kepp is really interesting. If you guys are into technology, New Zealand-based technology commentator, really interesting guy. He's a journalist, so he's pretty famous. Anyway, lots and lots of interesting people. Again, things to do in an idle moment if you want to see. Now, what about updating things? Most people that I speak to are comfortable doing the sort of things we're talking about today. You put time aside, you update your profile, you bring it up to date, you make sure your company profile is accurate. That is usually not perceived as an issue. What people say is, but I haven't got time to keep my profile up to date, to keep putting new things in the newsfeed and so on. So let's look at some things that might be useful. How many of you use slides when you speak professionally? Or okay. There's a social network called slideshare.com where you can upload PowerPoint presentations, or in fact you can actually upload PDFs, and it puts them up under your profile, gives them a title, you can explain what they are about, you can categorize them. It also, in the same way that you can go to a website and see a YouTube video embedded, it has an embed code so you can put it into websites that you control, so you could embed it in your business blog if you wanted to. Very easy to do. But LinkedIn bought SlideShare. So you can connect your SlideShare profile to your LinkedIn profile, and when you upload something to SlideShare, it will automatically share it over to your LinkedIn profile. And I'll show you where mine are. Let's go to my
It's not on LinkedIn part of LinkedIn already.
It is part of LinkedIn already here. So these are, irritatingly, it puts the first ones up beside first up instead of doing it in reverse date order. So my most recent stuff is way down the bottom here.
Well, that's annoying.
A little bit annoying. But so you can go and oops. What it does is it opens it up, and this is exactly what SlideShare looks like, and you just scroll through. Okay.
And can anyone use your slides?
You can set the permissions. I allow my slides to be downloaded, and I allow anyone to use them, but you can set them as not.
And how do you get into SlideShare from the...
You just go to slideshare.com.
Is that what you do?
Yeah. And
Oh,
we
these
can
are lovely photos.
upload
Okay.
the slides that I've got here today.
Excuse me guys, I'm super hungry and I have to eat something. Oh my gosh, it all crap. And I grabbed the first things I could, which were crunchy ginger nuts, so they're going to be noisy. If anyone wants one, they can help themselves.
So here's my title, it's processing it. I'm going to add it as a business category. I can put in a detailed description of the training course, or I can add it later. I can tag it. Everyone understand what tags are? They're keywords that people use to search for information. So although SlideShare has a range of categories, they only have one category called business, and let's face it, business is as broad as it's long. So you can then amplify and clarify what you mean. So I could say these are marketing, and it suggests, okay, it's digital marketing, it's social media. I also put my name in as a tag, so people might be looking for my name, then this will show up. Because you need to make them public or private, and then I can save it, and I'll have the description in.
Can you see these downloaded slides?
You pay them. Yes, you can. If you pay them, you can see who's downloaded it. Now, here we go. Big blue button. Add to my profile on LinkedIn. Okay? I click that, and it will be adding it to my profile, and there it's done it. Okay? And then, if I want to embed it, Jason, there's my embed code, which will do pretty much what I showed you before. It makes that frame. You can then scroll through the slides inside that frame. And then, of course, I can share it back on LinkedIn or any of those other social networks.
What's it first one?
How to use LinkedIn training? Demoing. Okay, demonstrating. Okay? Here, I can choose who sees this. So Rosina here, do I want it to go to public, or do I want it to just go to my connections? Do I want to send it to a particular group? I love this feature. You just start typing up, I don't know what are my groups called, so I'll go A. Oh, they're all the groups that begin with A. One to begin with B. That's pretty cool. C. Let's send it to this group, let's send it to this group, whatever. Really cute. So I'm actually not going to do that. There we go. And there was a Twitter link that was ticked there, so that will also go. So that's inside SlideShare, and where you set up your account will enable you to connect over to your LinkedIn profile. So here we go, my LinkedIn is connected, my Facebook is connected. There we go, I'll now connect my Google account. I haven't done that. Google Plus account. I'll do that later. Now, a lot of social networks have already set up preset tools like the one I just did that says connect it with Facebook. If you click a button, you log into Facebook and you allow the two to speak directly. Some of them do not allow this. Or you may want to send your information to other places that not a social network and is not deliberately set up to receive updates. But copying and pasting the same information into several different places is laborious. So we're going to show you a tool to do that. This is a website that is called If This, Then That. Now, if any of you are familiar with computer code, it's basically a reason statement. If I get up in the morning and wear a cream skirt, do not allow me to wear black shoes. That is an if-that statement. And this is a website, black and cream, that allows you to set these things up to happen automatically. For example, if I publish a new blog post on the business website, or if it is published by one of the team, please put that update on my LinkedIn profile, or put it on the business LinkedIn page. So you can basically auto-post anything. If this, then that, calls these recipes. And they are really fun. So ifttt.com, if this, then that. Okay? I'm already logged into this, and these are recipes that I've already written. You can, their newsletter is lovely because you receive lists of suggested recipes from all sorts of other people doing all sorts of other things. Now, some of us are old enough to remember the days before the internet, when if you read an interesting article, you would photocopy it and you would put it on the office notice board, or you would send it round in a memo to all of your colleagues to read. Sometimes you had all sorts of really sophisticated things you had to do, like initial it to say that you read it.
And there was a little thing with everybody's
That's
name,
right,
and
and
then
you
they
took
passed it on and they took their name off and they passed it on the next person and look, you're too young. But it used to happen, that used to be my job,
Exactly.
to do that, and work out who they would.
So now that you can no longer photocopy, who would still like to be able to save interesting things so that they can refer to them later, and doesn't know how to do it? Anyone here? So this is a service called Delicious, and it is a tool that allows you to save a URL. You can then categorize it, you can explain it. So I will find something interesting. Here is a really interesting article which is all about, on the Google Analytics blog, about online retailers and Christmas promotions. I haven't actually finished reading it, but my guess is that in here there will be useful things that I'll be able to use next year when I'm doing Christmas stuff for my clients. So I want to save this URL. Oh my God, it's really long. I'm never going to remember that. So what I do is I copy it and then I open Delicious. I have a profile here. I've saved 694 links. I'm going to add a link and I paste in that extremely long link. And now it allows me to put my own categorization around this in a logic that is unique to me and you guys do not need to understand. So the title is here. I'll put in Christmas marketing ideas. Okay? Sorry. I'll put that in the comment. In the tags, I'll put in Christmas, Chris Garrett, marketing ideas. Okay? And it will suggest ones that other people have used, and it will also suggest ones that I've already used. So in my 694, I can then go and look up all of the marketing ideas that I've got when I need an idea about marketing. Ta-da! Now, I've also set up that this is public, so you can follow people on Delicious. Delicious was a reasonably early social network and was very, very popular among bloggers because you could do your daily reading. I mean, a lot of professionals get in the office and they read the equivalent of the newspaper before they start work, or they read their trade journal, or they read blogs and articles, the Pulse on LinkedIn, and then you could just save the links that were interesting and broadcast them out using Delicious. Delicious then was bought by a really interesting company that has a development team in Dunedin. So it's actually now part of the New Zealand tech scene. Interesting.
So
Now,
was it not
is it? Okay.
No, it's an American company. I choose to automatically share it to Twitter and Facebook. I'm going to save my link. And you can then see that I am actually the only person who has saved this link. But this one has been saved by 110 different people.
So does that go out in the updates, does it?
If you choose to. It doesn't necessarily say that the 110 people saved it. It says Rebecca has saved this link and she's tagged it Christmas and marketing ideas. So I can then use this to search. Now go back to my recipes. Did you notice that it automatically said you can share it to Twitter and Facebook?
Yeah.
LinkedIn wasn't on the list. So I wrote a recipe for it because I actually think a lot of the people who follow me on LinkedIn might be interested in that article. If something goes on delicious, share it to LinkedIn.
It doesn't automatically go.
And I can turn it on and off. That's an on-off button. Refresh the page, it's greyed out. Look, so that's turned off now.
Yeah.
Turn it back on again. So kind of things that I use for some of the time and refresh it.
Okay.
If a new feed item comes on, this is a client's blog, then share it onto my LinkedIn profile. I love this client so much that when they write blogs, I'm happy to share their stuff to my network because my network is a lot more powerful than them. One of their reasons of working with a marketer like me is I can extend the reach of their stuff. Luckily, I'm also involved in writing the stuff, so generally it has an alignment with what my audience wants to read.
There's no surprises
Yeah,
here,
that's right. Yeah.
Here's one I've got turned off at the moment. Any of you use Etsy.com? It's a maker network. So, you know, there are lots of people who love home crafts and making jewellery and knitting and dress patterns and just beautiful gifts. ETSY.com. Individuals can go there and sell the things that they make. Now, New Zealand is a wonderful country where every single high street still has a knitting and sewing shop. Believe me, in the UK where I'm from, most of them have gone. But there is still a really active group of people around the world who are fantastically creative and make the most stunning stuff. So Etsy is a great source of Christmas present ideas for me, particularly because it's mail order and I can ship things to my family around the world.
Gotcha.
These are things that people have favorited. Someone makes perfume oil. Someone has built a board of all sorts of stuff that were Annie's. You can go and have a look at what people are selling. So search for cushions. And 184,588 items. But just have a look at them. Decorative cushion. And then you go and have a look and you can see this is a different person, this is the Dutch girl, this is someone else, someone's crocheting a cushion. Oh yeah, I love an owl crochet cushion. Here it is. I can favourite it, I can like it, I can buy it. There's the price. It's handmade. It's made by this lady. Oh look, these are all the other things that she's done. So back in my recipes, I'm looking for items for a client who's in a particular area that they might be able to resell to their audience from Etsy. So if a new item from this particular search, rowing, inside Etsy, then send an email from me to the client to tell them that there's a new listing that might relate to a product that they might want to sell. So you're looking out for new products to sell. So I've got a recipe there, we'll turn that one on. Okay. So back to our LinkedIn. You can set these, let's set up a new recipe. Let's have a look at other people's recipes.
Okay. Oh, that's cool.
Let's look it up for LinkedIn recipes. So other people have done all the thinking for us. Congratulate your LinkedIn contacts automatically when they get a new job. So when someone puts a status update in that they've changed a job or updated their profile, it'll go automatically.
1 minute you push someone in your birthday.
Exactly. Invite my new iPhone contacts to connect on LinkedIn. That's quite smart. That would save me having to do the LinkedIn thing.
Okay.
share my Facebook page's messages on LinkedIn. So that's quite interesting because if you're, as in LinkedIn, you've got a company page and your profile is your individual. Facebook has a similar setup, and Facebook limits the number of things you can do on a brand page or a fan page. Organise and save your LinkedIn connections to a spreadsheet on your Google Drive. What's not to like about that? A new Twitter follower gets a LinkedIn invite. Now that's quite interesting. What it's doing is matching the email address that is in the Twitter ID with that person's Twitter ID on their LinkedIn profile. So I don't actually know your email. I can't be bothered to go and search for you because your Twitter ID might be not your name. But it'll look for someone on LinkedIn who says that that is their Twitter ID. How clever is that? So if I want to do that, just click.
Yeah.
So I've got to activate my Twitter channel first. Obviously I haven't done that. Authorize it, that's easy. Gosh, they make these things easy for you, don't they?
Yeah.
Done, thank you. I then add the recipe, and that will now go onto my recipes. Okay. So you can use your,
Quite good, isn't it?
isn't it cute?
It's not a lot of work.
No, because it saves you time after.
Once it's set up.
No, I said it saves a lot
Oh,
of
it
work.
Yeah.
saves a lot, but yeah, sorry.
And it gives
It is a lot.
I love browsing
Oh, no,
other people's
no.
recipes. I mean, they had a lovely one that in their email newsletter the other day. It said, recipes for a road trip. So, okay, I'm going on a driving holiday. What might I want to do? Take photos and have them automatically go to my Flickr account. You know, just really cute. Recommend things on the way that are, you know, on the route that I'm on because it's got a GPS tracker. I mean, there's just lots and lots and lots of really fun things. So, if you think about the sort of broadcast marketing communications that you might want to do, if you're not sure how to connect one bit with another, look to if this then that as a way of creating a recipe. So, for example, LinkedIn company pages won't let you draw from the business blog. They used to, and it was a feature they withdrew. You can overcome it with this. And you could then also, if you're a business that has quite a lot of people who blog in different ways, particularly people I think who do visual photographic blogs like Instagram updates and things, you could allow their personal Instagram updates to be going into the company LinkedIn page. If you're a very visual business like you are, Kiki, that could be a really nice way of showing, hey, we're visiting this illustrator who's done some work on this particular book and we're in their studio. Here's a lovely picture of a creative artist studio. People go, oh, that's great. You know, sort of thing that people like to see. It's not directly going to sell more books, but that sort of update, it is a photograph and a click, and you can just set that sort of thing.
With
That's a hand thing.
if this then that, does it have to go to your entire LinkedIn connections or can you segment it?
It depends on your LinkedIn settings that you've set up. So you can set it so that things only go to your connections, your network, which we explained was the broader group or public. So you can't segment your connections as such, no.
And can you have some form of notification where you might get asked, do I want to do it this time?
No, it's either on or off.
Okay.
But you can tag your connections, can't you? Yeah, and so you can send stuff via tags.
Or you can make a group, but then they'd all have to join the group.
Yeah. So you can send it by tag, so maybe the tag is new business.
Okay.
Yeah, you can tag them, it's laborious, but if you do it in front of the TV, go through on your connections and you can tag them into groups.
Oh, great.
Do you want to have to
Segments
export
of
your LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Your LinkedIn network. That's the only
Yeah.
other thing that I'd say is really worth doing.
It makes it so easy, doesn't it?
So you go into your connections and then it allows you to. Yeah, you're still there. Export your LinkedIn connections.
Really?
So I went into connections.
Oh yeah.
Actually at the top I didn't click any of the ones below, and then here it allows you to export them.
So the thing that I do with it, that's why I can't remember where I did it. I do it like once a year, so because you get new people coming on board, you know, and you forget. So
yeah, exactly. Now, Rosina, you asked me earlier about synchronising. On the left-hand side here, do you see it says email, contacts, and calendars?
Oh, hold on, sorry.
And here it's got a green tick next to these. So these are the email. I use Gmail, and it's taken all of those contacts and they're already imported. Okay.
Imported to where?
LinkedIn is trying to connect them. So in fact, you can see I've got 5,400 contacts in there, but actually only 2,900 are connected with me on LinkedIn. Here is Outlook, which is what you said you use. Okay. Now, I'm not going to click sync because I'm not using Outlook, but you click that and then it'll ask you to log into your Outlook and then it'll make that connection for you.
Okay, and it's just under connections, email, contacts, and calendars.
That's right. Well, if you can't find it, just Google how do I sync my Outlook with my LinkedIn and
So when you link your Outlook to LinkedIn, does that mean automatically send a message?
no, what it does is it pulls all of your contacts from LinkedIn, from Outlook, and then it allows you to decide using a tick box which ones you want to send it to, or you can send it to everyone. So, you know, if you've got Auntie Anna on there or your grandma or something, you don't. You control it, and it doesn't do it until you have confirmed, and then you click do it.
Does it only pick up the ones you don't already have?
No. Oh yes, it does take out the ones who are already connected. Correct.
That's why you do it once a year.
That's right.
Yeah.
They also allow you to import files. If you don't want to do that direct connection, you can export from Outlook and import it. So if any of you work in a team with colleagues who perhaps less technologically savvy, one of the things we'll often do with a client is someone will go round to all of the senior individuals who aren't so relaxed about this desks and create an export file from their mail program, which they can then mail to themselves and then log into LinkedIn using that person's login and upload it for them. So you don't actually have to make them do something that they would find complicated, or they obviously need to be comfortable with you doing it. But if the firm, you know, as a whole, for example, said we all need to be doing this, and that's quite a nice way of a third person helping them out. And that is the end. Now, last thing. Please connect with me.
The end is not
Are we all connected?
How
I know I'm connected to you.
But how do you find it?
How do you find out? You go into, you search in the search bar at the top, and write in my name, if you're assuming you're logged in as yourself. It will then bring up my profile and it should say first next to it.